Hello, I am Angelique Clemens, and I am the host of the Can I Borrow Your Skin podcast. And I am coming to you today on this special Wednesday episode because I wanted to address the whole Reddit story about females having smaller male genitalia. And I did like a little baby poll, and people thought it would be cool to pull some of the information from my September episode and bring it out a little sooner. So I'm going to do that. And just so you know, a lot of the stuff I'm doing in September is different. And so this will be, a little bit different, but, whatever. If you saw my special episode about a week or two or so ago, you saw me draw my boss ass cell, and you probably thought, damn, she could be a medical illustrator if she didn't have all these other jobs. Well, I'm going to disappoint you because I did draw the female genitalia there. A lot of detail, very pretty. And then the male genitalia. And I'm quite aware that they're not the best they could be. But I also didn't go to an art school, and I suck at this. So let's first address the idea that females should just have smaller penises. Well, newsflash, we do. Or technically, the male has a longer female clitoris that's external. And so what a lot of people don't know is humans have sexual dimorphism. You're either male or female. However, that change into male from female doesn't happen until several weeks into female gestation, the gestation of the human baby. And that only happens when the SRY gene or the SARI gene on the Y chromosome starts to produce enough hormones to tell the growing fetus, hey, you're male. Turn that technically push that those female organs out, and let's make us a male. And what do I mean by push them out? So the clitoris, which is very cute and very small here. Most people think of the clitoris as this itty bitty thing with the hood on top of it at the intersection between the labia. And they are partially right and partially wrong. Most of the structure of the clitoris is actually inside the body, just like most of female genitalia. Now, you will have some women who a lot of people call has a big clit, where when they get aroused, instead of just having the tip of the clitoris, like the gland, stick out, they will actually have a very large protrusion sticking out. And like I said, that's because the male penis is just a differentiated version of the female clitoris. So technically, men have external versions of the female genitalia. So if your problem is you have a difficult time finding it, chances are the woman's just not aroused enough, or you didn't go on enough in an exploration. Because, yeah, you could see your dick, so you found it, yippee! But, there's many structures, and there's actually a really cool influencer who does a really good series on the female clitoris, its structure, what it looks like. And he has like different sizes and versions of the clitoris. And I love his work, and I will try to remember to tag him in this. But the point that's important here is, if your whole idea that female genitals should be evolutionarily eliminated, that will also eliminate male genitalia, because male genitalia is just a differentiation on female genitalia that happens several weeks in utero. And since we're talking about the differentiation of different genitalia, I'm going to actually tell you about some of the other homologs that we have. But one thing is for certain: men, everything you like done to your penis, a woman enjoys happening to her clitoris. So it's not just, a lot of men think you should rub it, you should rub it, you should rub it, you should rub it. Well, think of someone going straight, rubbing, like on your penis. You wouldn't enjoy that. You like the stroking, you like the licking, you like things that happen in long, elongated manners. Well, that's what women tend to like on their clitoris. You like your head sucked, you like your dick sucked, women like their clitoris sucked. Moving on. So in this picture here, this is the labia majora, this is the labia minora, or the outer and inner lips. So when you look at how the genitals change from female to male, they have very clearly shown that the outer lips, or the labia majora, turns into the scrotal tissue, or the sac that holds the testicles. And, a lot of people, men who think that, men and women who don't give the best head to a woman, thinks that pulling on them with their mouth, biting, various forms of that is great. And unless a woman tells you, yeah, do that, I like it, unless you like your scrotum pulled at and bit, that's probably not the way to go. Yes, it's elastic, but at the end of the day, unless you want teeth near your balls, I wouldn't say that's a great way to go. While we're talking about balls, the testicles and the vas deferens is analogous to the ovaries and the fallopian tubes. They actually do the same things. They hold and produce your semen and or eggs, and then it travels along to be excreted into your sex organ. So that's probably pretty easy to pay attention to and believe and understand. One thing I will say, people have to understand that when an egg is excreted from the ovaries, it's literally a small explosion. And that is the start of the ovulation cycle. It can be painful. A lot of people think that women are exaggerating when it comes to their menstrual cycle and the pain of the shedding of the uterine lining, because men don't have something that's going to shed like the uterus does in men. Even though the prostate and the uterus are homologs, the prostate gland does not shed. So I like to tell men of the analogy that think about every single month you get kicked in the nuts. Every 28 days you get this nice nut kick, punch, kick, whatever. That's what it's like for women. Every single month their body gets kicked in the ovary. So if you could take a nut punch every 28 days, then good for you. You could complain about your woman and her menstrual cycle. If you don't want to take that 28-day kick/punch, don't bitch when she tells you she's tired or in pain. Fucking go get ice cream and a heating pad and shut the fuck up. Moving on. I talked about the uterus and the prostate being homologs. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is about the Griffenberg spot, or the G spot. Because everyone has heard of the G spot, and there is a male equivalent to that, and obviously this is a prostate here, and this is the anal opening. A lot of people have a difficult time with the prostate and anal play, but you don't have to find the prostate through the anus. You can find it in the turt, between the testicles and the anus. That spot there, you can also stimulate the prostate that way. And the P spot, or the male equivalent of a G spot, which is the prostatic urtilla, you can get to that from externally or internally. And all the things that women like about G-spot stimulation, the fact that it's very sensitive, and it is very stimulating. You don't have to do a lot, caressing, rubbing, usually does it for most women. The same is for the man. And like I said, you can find it externally or internally, depending on, what your male partner enjoys. And because I don't want to make this a sex talk and how to get someone off, I'm going to leave it there, but I'm going to make you look at my very beautiful drawings. Ooh. Yeah, that one's not as great. Bam. And so that is my mini TED Talk. I shouldn't use TED Talk because it technically wasn't one. But that's my mini little baby talk on why the whole idea that women should just have smaller male genitalia. Well, now people know that males actually just have external female genitalia. So feel free to ask questions in the comments. Please like, please subscribe, rate me. So far, I think I'm at a 4.7. Those of you that didn't give me 5 stars, I'd love to know why. And that's all I got. Thank you so much.